Hi guys, it's Lisa. So this is our first Tools of the Trade call for 2018. So we decided to relaunch these. So just a little background before we jump in. We are going to be doing these once a week, always at 8:30 p.m. on a Wednesday. If for some reason you can't join us on a Wednesday night, they will be recorded, and then we're going to store the library in the Owl Dynasty page. So if for some reason you're not on that page, make sure your director adds you to that page so that way you can access everything. So for those of you guys who do not know me, I am Lisa. I am an advanced director down in Massachusetts. So Karen is my upline. And I know Jen, and I don't know Sherry and Joanne, but welcome to the call. So give yourselves a pat on the back for hopping onto the call, because all of these calls are just, so the goal of the calls is just to give you tips that maybe you can't get from the website, or things we think are important right now, but just kind of training, and there'll be all different kinds of topics. So give yourselves a pat on the back for coming into training. And if you're on Michelle's team, I know she's doing do and tell. So make sure, I'm going to give you guys a little action item at the end. So when you do that and tell her what it is, she'll give you a do and tell point. So, and she always has a good prize. So anyways, okay. So some of you I know, so it's January, it's a new season. There are a lot of new seasons with the Pampered Chef, but one of the things is, so some of you might have been working your calendar and getting your calendar in shape. Some of you maybe not quite there yet and have a slow start. You know what? That's okay. I actually had 3 cancellations this month. All at the beginning of the month. So I was sharing with Jen that my first show wasn't until the 19th. So all my shows were bottom heavy. And cancellations sometimes naturally happen. Sometimes it's, but it's important to stay positive. So what we're going to talk about today is listening to our inner voice. So we're going to talk about what our inner voice says and what it says to us. So for example, did you guys know that, and I'm going to unmute you guys, so in case I ask a question, you can, actually, if you want to unmute yourself, you can, but if you have background noise, then you can mute yourself back up. Okay, so the average adult tells themselves about 50,000 negative thoughts throughout the day. On average adults. So we're constantly, and think about it, like when you wake up in the morning, what do you say to yourself? Oh my gosh, I'm tired. I need coffee to start my day. Oh, my clothes don't fit. Oh, I just want to have that brownie for breakfast and not eat healthy. Whatever thoughts are kind of going through your head. And then maybe related to your business, you might be saying to yourself, oh my gosh, Susie, she's getting all these bookings. How's she getting all these bookings? I don't have any bookings on my calendar. What am I doing wrong? Nobody wants to have a party. It's too cold in January. Nobody has any money because they just spent all their money on the holidays and the bills are coming in. So I don't know if any of you have these ideas that pop into your head. If you do, it's normal. It's okay. But what we want to do is help you guys combat that, because I have this, because the more negative thoughts you have, the more your body or your brain actually believes those. So this used to happen to me a lot. I've been in business for a long time, but when I was new, and even before that, I didn't always have the best confidence. So I would, if things weren't going my way, I would just kind of tell myself, oh, I can't get any bookings, or nobody's going to talk to me. And I would just kind of get myself into that negative place, and then I'd have to pull myself out to get it positive. So we need to tell the negative committee that's in our head to just go away and just shut up. So the thing is, our brain doesn't know when we're telling it positive thoughts or negative thoughts. So think about it. I don't know how many of you watch This Is Us. Does anybody watch This Is Us? Okay, so I watch This Is Us, and I'm like, bawling, like all like the trigger, like you're watching the show, and or I'll see a sad commercial come on TV, and I'll start to cry because the input that's coming into my brain is just making me feel sad, and then I'm crying, or that's my response. So another example is my son he's 13, so he loves to come up behind me and scare me because I'm very jumpy. So he'll come up behind me and he'll go, boo! And I like jump out of my skin because that's the response that my brain is like, oh, you're scared, so I'm just gonna jump. So what we wanna do is we wanna retrain our brain to listen to the positive thoughts that we have, but we wanna make sure the positive thoughts outweigh the negative thoughts. So I'm gonna teach you guys how to create affirmations that you can share, that you can say to yourself to kind of help change that mindset. So I find when you talk to yourself in a positive way, or even just the best way is to say it out loud, then your brain starts to believe it. And then when that's true, your actions, if you're not totally motivated, your actions will because you're in a more positive space, will also change, and you may start to see things change just because you have a little bit more of positive thinking. Does that make sense? Okay, so, all right. All right, so what is an affirmation? So an affirmation is, I'm going to post this afterwards because it's a good rule of thumb. A positive, specific statement to help you overcome self-sabotaging negative thoughts. So it helps you visualize and believe what you're telling yourself, helping you make a positive change, whether it's in your daily life, in your family, maybe it's personal. I'm always trying to give myself positive thoughts about my eating habits and exercise, and or your job, whether it's your full-time job, your Pampered Chef job, or all of that together. So I'm sure you're wondering, well, how do I write these so that they're working, so that they're in a positive way? So affirmations always need to be in the present tense. So for example, you don't want to, if you see an affirmation that says, I will, so I will do something, that isn't 100, so when you say I will, it's not 100% sure. I used to, I am going to, that's still sort of a negative place. So you want to use statements like I am. I'm actually just going to mute Danny because I'm recording. But if you have a question at the end, you can unmute for sure. So for example, you have two examples. One is, I will get 2 bookings from every party. Or you could say, I am a successful consultant who gets 2 bookings from every party. So you're affirming that I am a successful consultant who gets 2 bookings from every party. So that's one example. Another example might be, I am a successful consultant who hands out 3 recruiting brochures at every party. I am a successful consultant and I have fun at my party, and my guests have fun at my parties. Or I am a fun consultant and my guests have a great time at my parties. So see how that wording? So the other thing is positive affirmations only includes positive words. So you don't want to use the negative, like don't cry or don't get upset, or can't or won't. Like I will not procrastinate is not a positive affirmation. I will act upon things on time is a positive affirmation. So if you're using a negative statement, your brain is then hearing the negative first, and then it can't even get to the positive. So, so does that make sense? Okay. I'm just looking for a shaking head. All right. And then the last thing is you want to use words like am and do. So for example, one of my affirmations is, I am dedicated to living a healthy lifestyle. As opposed to, I might go to the gym every day. Or I might go to the gym, 3 times a week. So you could say, I am committed to going to exercising 4 days a week. If exercise is what you want to put in there. That's just something I do because that helps me stay on track. So, for example, you don't want to say, I can do anything I put my mind to, because it's I can. You might want to say instead, I take action and achieve my goals. Another one might be, you don't want to say, I can achieve a healthy lifestyle. And similar to what I had earlier, I practice healthy living each day. So the key with affirmations is you want to write that, you want to create some, and one of your action items is going to be to write 10. Maybe we'll start with 5. Let's write 5. And then if that's like, oh my gosh, and we'll talk about this at the end, like I can't do that, then we can talk about that a little bit before we get off. And then that's where your director comes in. Our job is to kind of help you write those affirmations and tweak and fine tune them so that they are something that sounds good to you and that works for you. And then the other key is, it's great to have affirmations, but if you're not saying them to yourself out loud, like, I am an inspirational and supported leader to my growing team. I am confident and successful businesswoman with the Pampered Chef. I provide valuable information and fun at my shows. I provide a nurturing environment for my son to grow and flourish. If you are not saying those out loud, it doesn't even matter that you wrote them down because your brain is not hearing them. So part 2 of the exercise is going to be, you're going to write some affirmations with help if you need it. And then 2 is you're going to read them aloud each day at least 2 to 4 times. So I recommend when you get up, read your affirmations. When you go to bed, read your affirmations. If you do live parties on the way to the show, say out your affirmations. I used to talk to myself before my parties. I still do sometimes if I'm trying something new. And kind of give myself a little pep talk. Okay, this is what I'm going to say. This is how I'm going to do my opening. I am getting 2 parties booked at this party. I am giving away, 4 think about it packets. So talking to yourself before your parties is a great way to do that as well, using those affirmations, because then you're going to be in the right space before your party. If you don't do live parties, you can do it at different times during the day. Maybe, this doesn't all have to be about Pampered Chef. It can be in different aspects of your life. So, if there's something you're struggling with, then, read that affirmation out loud before you're doing that activity. Maybe before I think about having a brownie, I say, oh, yeah, I am dedicated to living a healthy lifestyle. Oops. Just something like that. So I want to challenge you guys to, who else is it? Oh, Sherry. I want to challenge you guys to come up with, and maybe come up with 5 affirmations related to Pampered Chef. If you want to do some related to outside of your life, then do those as well. And then I found that part was the hardest part for me because I find language to be a little bit tricky. So if someone has one that they thought of while I was talking, and if you want to share, you certainly can. Or if you have questions on that, we can answer those. And then I want you to practice by saying them out loud at least 2 to 4 times a day. At least 2, but if you can fit in 2 more, it will really make a difference. And I want you to practice it for a month. You'll kind of get the change, will kind of kick in a couple weeks. But any new habit, they say you have to do for 21 days. But just practice it for a month and just see what happens. I volunteered to do this topic because this is something that I've struggled with in the past, personally and with my business, and even sometimes, we all have little gremlins that talk in our brain. Nobody is immune to that. I find it really does help when you kind of have that positive voice that talks to you, and it has to start from us, and we want to help you kind of get there. So do you guys have questions for me? Comments, thoughts, anything? Just look at me like I'm crazy.
Wheels are turning.
Okay, Sherry, I like that. Wheels are turning. So what would be helpful? Would it be helpful if I shared the examples that I read, like in a post underneath, so you guys could kind of revisit that? Would that be helpful? Like if you're going to work on some? Okay. And then I'll post the action item. And then, yeah, so any other questions? All right, I'm going to stop recording. So thank you guys. I appreciate that.